In example 1, we see our coefficients of x are -9 and +9. So to eliminate our x variable, we are going to use addition. And one of the things that students like to do is to box out their like terms, and we can view this system of equations as three separate problems. We see -9x plus 9x, and when we add those we get 0. We see -9y plus -3y, that gives us -12y, and we also see -9 plus -15, and that gives us -24. Then using inverse operations, we can divide both sides by -12, and we find out our y value is equal to 2. To find the corresponding x value, we substitute that y value back into an equation. I'm going to use the second one. 9x minus 3 times 2 equals -15. And then simplifying, we get 9x minus 6 equals -15. Adding 6 to both sides, we see 9x is equal to -9. And finally, divide by 9, and we see that our x value is equal to -1. So for our system of equations, our x value is -1, our y value is 2, and we can write this as an ordered pair, -1, 2. For problem number 2, since the coefficients of x are -4 and +4, we are going to use addition again to make them cancel out. Also, remembering that sometimes it is easier to see our like terms when we box out our like terms. -4x plus 4x would give us 0. 6y plus -y gives us 5y. And -10 plus 5 is equal to -5. So we can divide both sides by 5, and we see that our y value is equal to -1. To find the corresponding x value, we will substitute that into an original equation. I'm going to use the second one. 4x minus -1 equals 5. Simplifying, we get 4x plus 1 equals 5. We can subtract 1 from both sides. We see 4x equals 4, and when we divide by 4, we have x equals 1. So our x value is 1, our y value is -1 for this system of equations, and we can also write this solution as an ordered pair. It would be 1, -1. Problem number 3 is similar to problems number 1 and 2, except that our coefficient actually have the same sign. So we have 10x in the first equation and 10x in the second equation. If we added these two equations together, that would give us 20x, and that wouldn't cancel out on x terms. So instead of using addition, we're going to use subtraction. Just like before, most students find it easier to see their like terms if they put boxes around the problems, and then we can treat this as 3 individual problems. This is especially important with subtraction because we are going to be doing a subtraction problem for each set of terms, which is ultimately going to change the sign of the second term. So working through this problem, we have 10x minus 10x, which would cancel out. -3y minus a positive 5y would give us -8y, and -20 minus -20 would give us 0. Dividing both sides by 8, we get a y value of 0. To find the corresponding x value, we substitute that y value back into either of the equations. I will use the first one. 10x minus 3 times 0 equals negative 20. Simplifying, we get 10x equals negative 20, and then we can divide both sides by 10. We find out x equals negative 2. So our x value is negative 2, our y value is 0. As an ordered pair, we can write negative 2, comma, 0. So in number 3, we use subtraction because our coefficients had the same sign. Some students remember the rhyme same sign subtract. That's not a rhyme, that's just a thing students remember. The important thing is that you make sure that you subtract each set of like terms. That will change the sign of the second term in each. Because we have coefficients of negative 2 for both of our x terms, we are going to use subtraction to eliminate the x term. Remember, same sign, subtract. I am boxing out each of my set of like terms in the two equations, and that will help me to see my individual problems. With our x terms, we have negative 2x minus negative 2x, which would cancel out. Negative 7y minus 8y gives us negative 15y. And 21 minus negative 24 gives us a positive 45. And then to solve for y, we divide both sides by negative 15, and we see our y value is equal to negative 3. Again, to find the corresponding x value, we substitute our negative 3 into either of the two original equations. I will use the first equation, negative 2x minus 7 times negative 3 is equal to 21. Simplifying, we get negative 2x plus 21 equals 21. When we subtract 21 from both sides, we see negative 2x equals 0. Therefore, x is equal to 0 when we divide both sides by negative 2. And we have our x value. So our x value for this system of equations is 0. Our y value is negative 3. And if you would like, you can write that as an ordered pair, 0, comma, negative 3.